Monterey Car Week is just around the corner. It's pretty much crunch time for me. I got a lot of things done on my 911, so I'm going to break down everything on this vlog. Today is August 10th, and that means I got exactly 4 days until I head out to Monterey Car Week. The original plan for today's episode was to have a different vlog, but I decided last minute that I want to try and keep the Monterey vlogs as current as possible. So I'm going to talk about my 911 and the progress I made. On episode 121 is the last vlog that I did where I talked about the plans that I have for my 911. So today is an update, and thankfully I was able to get a lot of things done. So from now until Thursday, I should be pretty much coasting the rest of the way. One of the things that I didn't anticipate was the plans that I had for working on my car just happens to be the week that my kids go back to school. So I had to deal with orientation, getting all the supplies for school, getting all their books, their uniforms, all those priority items, pretty much put my car in the back seat. So the last week or so, I've been really focusing on trying to get things done on my 911. I'm glad that I'm able to finally relax and just do a few small touch-ups. So what I'm going to do on this vlog is I'm going to do a little narration of the things that I've done, and then once I'm done with that, I'll go into the garage and discuss more details of the finished results. One of the biggest parts of this project was getting to retrofit the 997.2 GT3 RS cup lip, because I have the .1 on my car and I was able to custom fit it. I wasn't too sure about how the .2 would fit. So that was something that I didn't really plan for. I was basically just winging it and relying on the outcome that it will eventually work. But I didn't really have a plan, so that was something that kind of worried me. But as I got deeper into the project, I was able to make it fit pretty flawlessly. The only thing that really took time was to prep it for paint. I had to sand it down, primer it, and then shoot 2 stages. I did the base coat and then the clear afterwards. Once I was done with that, I had to sand it down a little bit so that I can get some of the orange peel out, and then do some compound and polishing. And then the last step was to do some ceramic coating. Here's the situation I'm in with my front lip. The one that was on my car for several years is the Turbo version 2 customized front lip. And I always keep this as a backup, but last year I decided to do a custom GT3 RS front lip for .1 911. My mistake here was using paint remover to get out the original colors. And what happened was it left me a lot more work. So I decided to just use the .2 GT3 RS front lip that I bought. Initially I was going to just repaint this front lip, but there's so much work that needs to be done. I'm just gonna go ahead with my original plan to customize the .2 RS front lip onto my 911. The next concern that I had was installing the rear tires on my car. The set that I have is getting a little bit old, and I didn't want to take the 5-hour drive up to Monterey with tires in those conditions. So I bought a new set a few months back, and I was just waiting on the right time to install it on my car. But the hurdle that I came across with this particular part of the project is finding a tire shop that is close by that has a touchless machine. I normally go out to Orange County or LA to go to a wheel specialist that works more on higher end wheels. But for this time, I didn't really want to travel too far because of my schedule being so tight. I wanted to try to keep it local. So I reached out to one of my friends, and he goes to a local shop, and I've never been to it before, nor have I heard of it. But I called them up, and they usually set up appointments. The day that I called them up, they had an opening, so I took it and I was able to get my tires replaced using the touchless machine. So in the future, I know that there's a local shop that can handle that. The rest of the items on my car didn't really concern me too much because I had all the parts and the materials. So it was just a matter of putting some time aside and getting the job done. I changed all the bolts on my GT wing. I also reinforced the brace with additional steel brackets because I'm gonna be driving several hundred miles. I want to make sure that on the way there, I was confident that the wing will stay sturdy. So I want to add extra supports on that. When I took apart my wing to change the bolts and add additional brackets, I noticed that it was still as sturdy as when I initially installed it more than 7 months ago. One of my buddies recommended me a shop that specializes in bolts, so I took a trip over there. I brought a few of the bolts that came from my wing, and I want to compare it just to make sure that everything matches up. Here's a comparison of how it looks between the old and the new set, and I'm pretty satisfied with the results. While I was working on my wing, I also wanted to actually paint the engine lid cover because when I was cutting it out to make room for the two brackets that come up, I scratched around the areas that I cut, and the original plan was I was going to paint that along with my front lip, but because of time, doing all the prep work and also the post-paint work, really was going to take a lot of time, so I kind of pushed that to another day. But I was able to find some color matching vinyl, and when I put it on, it looked just like I painted it. So it was a good thing that I found a color matching vinyl that could put a band-aid on that project for now, and I think most people won't even notice it. And last but not least, I wanted to adjust the tilt on my exhaust. It was really close to the exhaust opening on my bumper, and with a long drive and being in the summertime, I didn't want it to be too close to the bumper to the point where it would burn my bumper. So I just made some small adjustments to it. Now it's tilting up a little bit higher and it has a good amount of clearance so that it won't burn my bumper. One of the important things that I inspected when I was putting my wheels back on is making sure that my suspension is nice and tight. I checked all the bolts, whether it was the control arms, the camber arms, the steering rods, the sway bar, and all the other suspension components. I made sure that none of them is loose and that they're tight, because that's the last thing I want to worry about when I'm going on a long drive. Now that I've summarized the things that I've done to my car, I'm going to take you to my garage so you can see the results. And just like that, my car is back together. The first item I'll cover, since we're facing directly at it, is the 997.2 GT3 RS cup front lip. It's not 100% done right now. I just ceramic coated it, so I'm gonna let it cure for a few days. I do have a finisher right in the middle here that covers that little gap, but I won't install it until the ceramic coat cures. The good thing about an authentic front lip is the fitment. You notice the line is perfectly around the bumper. I was surprised that I didn't have to do much modifications to make this fit. Was able to wrap around my bumper. I did use a heat gun just for a little massaging to get some of the corners to mate properly. But other than that, it wasn't too bad. The other lips that I've had on my car, I've done far more work. So I was glad that this lip didn't give me a hard time. Go around here so you can see the view from this side. I do really like how the front lip of the .2 cup comes out in the front. It really complements the aggressive look with the side diffusers and the high GT wing. So I was glad that this project worked out well. My car is actually really dirty right now. The only thing that's clean are the wheels. Before I put them on, I waxed the barrels, put some tire shine. I'm not too sure if I'm going to wash this before I head up to Monterey, but I'm definitely going to wash it when I get there. The next items I replaced on my car were the bolts. So if you see some of the bolts here, the ones in the brackets, those are a lot more flush to the brackets and the end plates. The bolts that I had before were rounded and pretty high, and so this one blends in a lot better and still provides the strength and support that the wing needs. Another thing that I did was on this area right here, I found some vinyl wrap that matches my car. So you can't even see all the scratches that I initially had before. It's pretty much covered and everything blends well. So I'm glad that I didn't have to paint this and take up more time before going to Monterey. And last but not least, I did adjust the angle of the exhaust tips. I didn't want it to be too close to the opening down there. So now that I have it lifted up a little bit higher, there's good clearance and it won't burn my bumper, especially on the long drive to Monterey. Although this project was pretty nerve-wracking, especially because it interfered with my kids' schooling, I was able to get it done. So from between now and Thursday, everything's pretty much smooth sailing. Coming up next, I'm going to do different vlogs for Monterey Car Week. So it just depends on the events that we're able to attend and how much content I'm able to get. So I'm probably going to split the vlogs into 2 or 3, just like I did a couple years ago. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.